Welcome back to Gaelic Fan TV. Dublin 318, Kerry 114. What a massive win for Dublin, and what a huge win for Dublin. 10 points. 10 points versus Kerry. Who could have seen that coming? What a victory. What a result for Dublin, and what a performance from Dublin. Absolutely sensational. Absolutely brilliant. We made Kerry look like a Leinster Championship team. Who could have seen that coming? Dublin, absolutely brilliant. And yeah, look, it is only match day 4 of the league. You don't get carried away. It doesn't mean Dublin are going to win the All-Ireland this year. It doesn't mean Kerry are a bad team. It doesn't necessarily mean anything in the grand scheme of things. I mean, when it's all said and done, this result could be brushed under the carpet, and nobody could mention this result. This result could be absolutely huge for Kerry moving forward, in the sense that they revitalize, they regroup, they learn from what went wrong, and they improve moving forward. And who knows? Who knows what this result could do moving forward for the context of the season? It mightn't be the only time Dublin and Kerry play each other this year. But, oh my goodness me, I'm hugely surprised. I am hugely surprised, just because I felt that Kerry would have a real bite about them coming into this game. I felt that Kerry would have a real sort of fire under their belly. I felt like they would have a real point to prove, especially after what happened in the All-Ireland final last year. But that wasn't the case. Dublin came out all guns blazing. They were by far the better side in the first half. 10 points up at half-time. And look, Dublin were absolutely brilliant today. Absolutely sensational. I mean, 1-3 to a point up after 5 minutes. Conor O'Callaghan gets himself that goal. Ross McGarry, another very, very good performance from him, I felt. Sean Bugler, very good as well. But in particular, Conor O'Callaghan, absolutely outstanding. 3 goals and 4 points. A hat-trick today. And do you know what the thing is with Con? Like last year, and I've been saying this for the last couple of years, I felt like Con has almost been doing more so like the Kieran Kilkenny type role, where he's been keeping the ball, sort of laying the ball off to the forwards around him, sort of taking up the space, taking up the best man marker of the opposition, if that makes sense. And he's almost been sacrificing sort of his own abilities for the good of the team, to create space around them, to allow space for Cormac Costello, Colin Bascale, Kieran Kilkenny, these lads. But it looks like he's back, not necessarily back to his best, because I think he always had that same ability. I think he was just more so doing a job for the team. But it looks like now he's been able to roam free a lot more. And he was absolutely brilliant again today. 3 goals, 4 points. Last week, he was absolutely outstanding versus Roscommon. He was even better today. And it was just really, really good from Dublin. Really, really good. Paddy Small was excellent. I mean, looking at all 6 of Dublin's forwards. Noel Scully on the score sheet. Conor O'Callaghan with 3-4. Paddy Small with 2 points. Kieran Kilkenny, what a performance from him, 4 points. Sean Bugler was outstanding. Ross McGarry on the score sheet. Brian Fenton on the score sheet as well. It was excellent from Dublin, and it was by far the best Dublin performance probably since the All-Ireland quarter-final win versus Mayo. Now, Kerry were very, very poor. Kerry were absolutely brutal. There's absolutely no two ways about it. I do think Dublin embarrassed them a little bit today. They pulled their pants down, and they beat them comfortably. It was 10 points at half-time. It was very, very easy. And look, Kerry came out all guns blazing at the start of the second half. Joe O'Connor gets a goal. They brought it down to 4, and look, I remember saying to one of my mates at the game, I was, look, it's 10 points at half-time. Kerry will come out a different team in the second half. There's no way Jack O'Connor will stand for that. And Kerry will make a game out of this. And I was thinking, look, Dublin might sneak over the line maybe by 2 or 3. But once Dublin got going again, Kerry just did not have an answer. And there was so many passengers in that Kerry team today, in my opinion. Look, David Clifford, without question, one of the greatest footballers of all time. There's absolutely no doubt about it. And I don't think anybody should question his ability. But I don't think he had a great game today. I think he scored 3 points. He missed a lot of big chances. I remember him missing a free about 25 yards in front of goal, in front of the hill. Surprised he missed that. He missed another big goal chance where he put it side netting as well. Look, he is only human at the end of the day. And look, it's not the end of the world, because this is the league. And look, no. If Dublin go on to win the league, Kerry go on to win the All-Ireland, nobody's talking about this game. Do you know what I mean? Nobody is talking about this. Kerry have put some absolute batterings on Dublin in the league down the years. Nobody speaks about it. Why don't they speak about it? because at the end of the day, it doesn't really mean much. It does not really mean much in the grand scheme of things. But I do think Clifford was a little bit off it today. I do think he was a little bit off it. I think Paddy Clifford, didn't score, but he was still setting up things. He was still trying to make things happen. Sean O'Shea scored 6 points, but other than that, I think majority of them were from frees. I don't think he was really in it. Dylan Gainey wasn't really in the game. Killian Perk wasn't really in the game. And Kerry overall, I just thought were way off the pace. Watching that first half, I was saying to one of my mates at half time, it was like, this was nearly like watching Dublin versus Kildare in the Leinster Championship. This was, this was very, very straightforward and very easy. And look, it is early days in the league and everything else, so, you can't get too carried away. But it was so comfortable from Dublin. So comfortable. And, look, it was a very, very solid performance. A very, very solid performance. Gaelic Guy says, Con O'Callaghan masterclass. Yeah, he was absolutely brilliant today. 2 goals, 3 points. He was absolutely brilliant. He was very, very good today. Paddy Small, I thought, was very good as well. John Small had a very... I mean, look, all 15 of Dublin's players were outstanding. Theo Clancy was picking up Sean O'Shea, was brilliant. Owen Merchant, until his injury, who was picking up David Clifford, was outstanding. Very, very good display from him. And even some of the new lads who came on, or someone, not new lads, but players who came off the bench, like Tom Lahiff, he gets on the score sheet. It was brilliant today from Dublin. It was absolutely brilliant. And do you know what the thing is? I remember saying after the game versus Mayo in the match reaction and everything else, I said that, Dublin's performance was actually quite good. It was very, very good that day. They just didn't get over the line and they just didn't get the victory. Like, anyone who's watched this channel will know, over the past year, I was very critical of Dublin last year. Maybe a bit too critical at times. A little bit over the top. But I think it was justified based off of the performances at the best of times. But I was very critical on them, mainly because of how sloppy they were in the league, limping over the line and everything else. But in the opening, even in the defeat to Monaghan and Mayo, I didn't see that from Dublin. And even after the Mayo defeat, fair enough, 2 games, 2 defeats, very easy to look at things from a negative point of view. But I was looking at it and I was thinking, I see enough there from Dublin. I see enough there to go on, to kick on, to stay in this division comfortably and kick on even further. And the big thing that Dublin let themselves down in the last couple of weeks was just not taking their chances. Pretty simple as that. Popping balls wide. The efficiency today in front of goal, I don't know what the stats were. I'll have to check our good friend GA Statsman. I'll check that now as I'm speaking, because our efficiency today in front of goal was absolutely brilliant. And I'd be very curious to actually see what the efficiency was in total. So just having a look at it here. 23 shots from play today, 17 scored, 73%. Total shots 30, scored 21, 70%. I actually thought it was better than that, to be fair, but yeah, it was very, very good from Dublin. And you know what the thing was in the first half? Our kickouts, absolutely brilliant. In particular, Kerry's kickouts. We kept turning the ball over time and time again. Brian Fenton was absolutely brilliant. Owen Merchant was very, very good on his own kickouts as well. David O'Hanlon, I think, deserves massive credit, because anytime Kerry would kick a point or they would go down, create a chance and put the ball wide or do something like that, Dublin would move the ball so quickly. And Dave O'Hanlon was really, really on it. And I think he deserves massive credit, because we were so quick with our kickouts that by the time, Kerry would pop the ball wide, and when a blink of an eye, we were already on the attack going down the other end. So Dave O'Hanlon was absolutely brilliant today. I think he deserves a huge amount of credit. And yeah, our midfield was absolutely solid. Absolutely solid. A2 says, cannot believe how bad Kerry were. They may as well have played without half-back line in midfield, but we were fantastic, King Con. We were absolutely brilliant. And look, it's, you can't get too carried away. It's one of them things with the league, as we've seen in the last couple of years. Does it mean a whole pile in the grand scheme of things right now? Probably not. Look, let's see when it gets to the championship. I do think Kerry massively played within themselves. They were very much... They looked like they were in cruise control in the first half. It looked like they weren't really trying. It looked like they weren't bothered. It looked like they weren't arsed. And look, fair enough. 4 points on the board so far. Maybe Kerry are looking at it and thinking, let's get 6 points on the board and finish up from there. But at the same time, I would have thought, playing Dublin at Croke Park, after what happened in the final last year, I just would have expected a bit more bite from Kerry. And there just wasn't that at all. There wasn't that at all. It was so easy for Dublin. It was very, very comfortable. You were watching that last 10, 12, 15 minutes and you were thinking, we could leave now. We could probably leave now because Dublin have already won this game, and it was very, very comfortable. Liam says Derry v Dublin will be interesting. It will be. It will be very, very interesting. I'll be going to that game as well, so I'm really looking forward to it. Do you know what it is? Like Dublin, if Dublin can beat Derry next week, that would be some statement. And I think it puts Dublin, because I think a lot of people probably right now have Derry as like the number one team in terms of how well they've started after 3 wins from 3. But if Dublin can go to Derry and win, especially without James McCarthy and Mick Fitzsimons, I think that puts Dublin in a very, very good place, But yeah, as A2 says here, but in a weird way, it might hurt us. Heads will roll and Kerry, you can't get embarrassed by the Dubs like that. Yeah, look, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing. Kerry will regroup. I guarantee if Dublin play Kerry in an All-Ireland Championship game, quarter-final, semi-final, you don't get a 10-point win. A big margin of victories, and Dublin and Kerry are very, very rare. Very, very rare. You have to go back to 2009, really, since the last time one team beat another by a massive, margin of victory. Maybe a few here and there in the league, but in terms of championship, that was the last sort of big one. Gavin says, I think we're a bit reactionary in the GA community because we might write Dublin or Tyrone off and give credit to Monaghan or Mayo, and then they lose form. So I don't know. Teams change a lot. Yeah, look, it is a fair point. It is a fair point. I think in the league is very hard to judge because, like as you said, Tyrone beat Mayo today. I haven't seen any of that game yet, so I'll have to go back and have a look at that. But you are right. I mean, especially with the league, like especially when you look at last year with Mayo winning the league, and then a lot of people thinking Mayo are going to have a very good championship season, and then they just don't. They have an absolutely terrible season. It's very, very hard to know, to be honest with you. Like there could be, for example, Galway have had a very poor start to the league, I think. Fair enough, they have 3 points on the board. Roscommon have had a poor start to the league, but they could have a very, very good championship, and then it makes their season look a lot better. So it's hard to know. Like this result could mean absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things at the end of the season. But at the same time, I would much rather be in Dublin's shoes right now and having beaten Kerry 10 points than be the team that have lost by 10 points. Because if Dublin had lost today by 10 points, it does more damage to Dublin than it does than beating Kerry by 10 points. If that makes any sort of sense. But yeah, Toig says here, was at the game very disappointing. Derry won't allow us that space, that's for sure. Patrick says, I saw you on the hill. Very good, very good. Glad you see me. Yeah, it was very enjoyable. It was a double header, so Dublin got absolutely battered in the first game by Limerick, which was expected. But yeah, it was very enjoyable, that game versus Kerry. I wasn't too sure what to expect. I was expecting Kerry to come out all guns blazing. Do you know what? If someone had to put a gun to my head before the game and they were to say Dublin win by 10 points or Kerry win by 10 points, I would have said Kerry win by 10 points just because of what happened between Dublin and Kerry last year. And I just expected Kerry to have a lot more bite and a lot more firepower about them, especially with the players that they had. Like that was more or less Kerry's best team. Whereas in a matter of fact, it was not Dublin's best team. Like Paul Mannion, James McCarthy, Mick Fitzsimons, Stephen Cluxton, all players who will probably play against Kerry if they played them in the championship. Looking at Kerry's team, looking at it there, maybe Tom O'Sullivan, fair enough, he didn't start. Paul Gainey maybe to come in, Adrian Spillane, but generally speaking, I think that was more or less Kerry's best team, So yeah, I think it's worrying signs from a Kerry perspective. A2 says, seeing that Cole Hayes tramp made my blood boil, though he shouldn't be involved. Yeah, look, probably shouldn't be. But look, that's John Kiley's decision. So yeah, look, that's up to him. Whether he is involved long term at Limerick, we'll have to wait and see. But it was surprising seeing him in the team. I can't lie. But yeah, overall, very, very good win for Dublin. Really enjoyed it. 4 points. And the question is now, can Dublin potentially push for a league final? Because you look at the remaining fixtures now, all of a sudden, you've got Derry away next week. But if you can get something from that, if you get a win from that, you've got Galway and Tyrone in your final 2 games. I think Dublin could maybe sneak into a league final. I think they could sneak in because they already go above Kerry now on the head-to-head. And, it's likely maybe Dublin and Kerry finish on similar points at the end of the season. So head-to-head could be really, really huge. But then again, the league is very exciting. You've got Mayo on 4 points. You've got Kerry on 4 points. Tyrone are on 4 points. Dublin are on 4 points. Derry are on 6. Galway are on 3. Monaghan on 2. And then Roscommon on 1. So, look, the league is absolutely wide open. And I think with 3 games to go, I thought after this round of fixtures, we'd be a lot more sort of wiser to knowing who's going to be more likely to get relegated, who's going to be more likely to get promoted. But actually, we haven't got a clue because Tyrone's win and Dublin's win blows it wide open. And look, who knows what happens tomorrow. If Roscommon beat Monaghan and Galway were to beat Derry as an example, you could have 2 points separating every team. Like, that's absolutely wild, isn't it? So, yeah, look, let us know in the comments down below. What was your man of the match? Who was your man of the match? I think it would have to go with Con. He was absolutely brilliant. 3 goals and 4 points. Yeah, look, there will be match reactions out tomorrow for both of the games, so stay tuned for that. And there will be a vlog. The vlog will be returning, so I did an L vlog for this game. It was a good fun. It was a good crack, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And I think I'm off to get myself an L pizza. I'll see you all later.